Good morning, good afternoon, and good night, and welcome to the Amateur Otaku Podcast. How is everybody doing out there? I am Brandon Alvarado, the Scarlet Fan here, and I'm so excited to be back here this week, this Sunday, to talk about Attack on Titan, the final season. So excited. Lots to talk about, lots that happened, a lot of speculation, a lot of introspection. We just love Attack on Titan here at the Amateur Talk Podcast. So we can't wait to talk about it here, Amateur Otaku. If you love what we do here, make sure to click on that like button, click on the bell for notifications so you do not miss any of the episodes, any of the covers that we do of My Hero Academia, Doran Doran, multiple manga, JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, any anime that we cover so you don't miss anything. Click on the bell for notifications, subscribe, and click on the like button. Also, if you love what we do and you want to hear us on podcast form, we're available everywhere: Spotify, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Radio Public, Stitcher, a lot of places. But we're here to do one thing and one thing only, and that is talk Attack on Titan here. And I am here with the Amateur Otaku crew, composed of the one and only Nova Cinephile, Mike.
Brandon, this episode was so hype, man. Like, I'm speechless. My jaw hit the floor multiple times.
Yes. And the one and only Sleeping Titan, Isaac Wolf.
I'm tired. And almost got a black guy today, but that's besides the point.
You almost had a
Black guy.
Should I ask why?
No.
Okay. Okay. I don't know what to see, and then Perp, our good friend Perp, what's up, Perp, is of course starting the conversation because before we go that, guys, you guys did a great job. Isaac and Mike took care of last week's episode because I couldn't be there, but they did an awesome job. Make sure you guys go check it. It's amazing. Great conversation on the last episode, Trader. But now we're going to talk about chapter 86, which is called Retrospective, which there's a lot here. And a lot of them recognizing what the mission is. Like, a lot of the characters are recognizing what their ideals, what their ends are going to cost, and also looking back at the bad decisions that they made and trying to make better ones for the world, for the greater good. Others for selfish reasons, others because they've been brainwashed. There's so much going on with multiple characters. And I think what we all want to talk about is exactly what Perp said in the comments section, is that we all know that Levi is kind of like, sidelined because, he's kind of hurt, but Mikasa,
Kind of.
yeah, he's he's kind of hurt. So, he's missing fingers. He can probably hold a sword. I don't know. He's hurt. So, but Mikasa kicked so much ass in this episode. It's like, wow. Isaac, what are your thoughts on Mikasa in this episode?
Well, how should I put it? Mike, you can go first.
Okay. So, yeah, Mikasa in this episode was everything we've come to expect from her at this point. She had a really great action scene, which you can just tell. They gave her the Levi budget, right? Of
Yes,
the incredible one-shot, smooth as butter animation. It's like, that's what we did with Levi. What was it, in season 3, I think?
Like we saw that back on the Beast Titan takedown.
Yeah.
In the battle with Kenny.
Yeah.
Like all the big action set pieces have been Levi's thing, right? Like, we see Mikasa in action, but yeah, I know what you mean. Like, Levi has been, so he's been,
as far as non-Titan
Schwarzenegger. Yeah, he's the Schwarzenegger, right?
Yeah.
And Mikasa just pulled a Dwayne Johnson. Like if Dwayne Johnson could wear a wig, Mikasa
Yeah.
would still be better.
For sure. So yeah, the action scene was great, but I really like the the question that Annie poses to her at the end of this
Yeah.
episode, and it's like
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
even if you can't kill Eren, will you be able to stand by and watch as somebody else does, right?
Yeah.
And I feel like there's just a lot of great setup for her as a character. Of course, we had again the great action scene in this episode, but especially with all that's going on, I liked the subtle focus we put on her character and where she is at this point in the story. Who is she going to be by the time we get to the end? Will she be able to help in the fight against Eren, or will she end up siding with Eren, or just being neutral? I like kind of playing around with that stuff.
Yeah, and the whole thing about no, and the biggest also thing is that is she gonna be a what's the word I'm looking for? It's not an obstacle, but there's a word I'm looking for here. Is she gonna be an asset, or she's gonna be a hurdle?
Yeah, liability.
That's the word. Is she gonna be a liability? Is she gonna be the reason why they don't succeed? Because she can't put how she feels aside, like or how she feels things should be. And what I like about this particular episode, which we kind of saw, I mean, we knew this is not the first time that we see our main characters having to deal with the fact that they have to make a decision. They have to make a choice. If they don't make a choice, someone has that power, and they're going to take it from them. And when you think about it, it's kind of like the whole Eren argument all over again, right? It's like the looming idea of freedom, the looming idea of what the power of choice is, and the idea that when it comes to matters of life and death, which by the way, this is one of the most human episodes, and even because most of the action, the death, and the bloodshed, it's not necessarily Titan related, or at least the one that was emphasized. Yes, we see the Titans on the background, but they're like big showpieces. But the big thing is Connie, Mikasa, Hanji, John, Keith, Shadis, Magath. Like, you know what I mean? Gabby, like they're making these, and all of the Jaegerists, right? And the fact that in war, if you don't make the choice of what you're gonna do, someone's going to make the choice for you, whether it is by taking you hostage or putting a bullet in your brain.
So emotional.
Yeah, it's deep. And that's kind of the whole thing with Mikasa, that she kind of like finally understands, which is why it's so powerful, is the whole thing about if we don't make the choice of standing of giving our all so that we can take this ship, we will never be able to stop Eren. And she actually says the word, if we don't kill these guys, because that's the only way we're getting in that ship. If we don't kill these guys, we're not going to make it.
But that's what I love about Attack on Titan in general, right? Like we had that, again, outstanding action set piece with Mikasa in this episode. But just go back to last week, right, where we see Armin and Connie like breaking down because these are their comrades, their friends that they have to actually take down.
Yep.
And they're struggling with that. And then you have Mikasa in this episode tearing through everybody. And it's like, that's just showing kind of how cold she is to the situation, considering where she came from. And I just think that's interesting, seeing her mindset, right, in the scenario, how she's just reckless abandon, just taking out everybody in her path because they're her comrades, just like they were Connie and Armin's. But at this point in the story, she's kind of done with it, like.
Go
ahead.
No, go ahead. Finish your thought. I'm sorry.
No, I'm just saying it's interesting seeing that mindset with Mikasa, but then also I think she works as a stand-in for the audience as well. Like as a viewer, as a fan reading or watching the story, it's like you're kind of warring within yourself. I get where it's coming from. I don't know if this is the right way to go about it. We need to stop them. Maybe we should let them go because at this point they're going to wipe out their entire island. And so I feel like the struggle that Mikas is going through works because it's a similar struggle the audience is also going through.
So you see, I kind of disagree with that. And the only reason I kind of disagree is because though that is true for Connie and Armin, Mikasa has never had a problem with killing people as long as she's protecting her own. That struggle arrives in the conversation with Annie. Because she's still struggling with whether or not is she going to be okay with someone killing Eren, which is the only person she really cares about. Which is why I like the fact that you can see it in all these different dimensions, right? Mm-hmm. Like Connie and Armin see it as we're killing family members, friends, or they're killing in the beginning, like in season 3, it was all about killing people in general. Like, and now is, can I kill loved ones? Can I kill people I care about? Like Mikasa, like never really had that problem in my understanding of her character on going that way. Like the only person that she would never see herself harming is Eren, and maybe Armin, right? So I like how that applies to them, and then it goes to Mikasa. Like they're not forgetting any characters. Like every character is going through this hurdle because it also begs the question: if they're doing this for the greater good, is this bloodshed worth it? And it goes back to the idea of are ideas worth killing for? Because when you think about it, they're all killing for their ideas of what's the greater good. Mm-hmm. And I like how all this bloodshed is really just a war of ideas, because what Eren is doing is what he thinks is best. He's just super extremist, but he's the one that's never struggled with choice. He sees the problem and he just made the decision, no matter what it means.
Next episode. I don't know if you guys saw the preview. It's going to be crazy.
Yeah.
I did not see the preview.
Bro, you got to stop. You got to start watching the previews.
You already read the manga. The previews aren't going to spoil you.
I just don't. I just always forget it. It's more that.
I mean, it was right after the after credits bit. So
you know there was a post credits
either.
Oh my god,
there was an after credit scene, man.
I didn't see that one. Okay,
we heard you. We're just kind of disappointed and feel bad, and I know you're tired. But yeah, man, it's like I like how everything. I like how in Attack on Titan, every set piece has this thoughtfulness behind it. You know what I mean? Like everybody that's slashing with their swords, shooting a bullet, has this charged philosophy, focus, mindset pushing them to do that. And it feels like every character is a live character fighting for something. Like even the Jaegerist, which I don't care for and don't agree with, right? I know that they're fighting for something. Even the extras that don't have names. You know what I mean? Like everybody's fighting for something. They're fighting for what they believe in. Whether it is they're fighting for the cult ideas that Flock has sown on everybody. And or whether they're fighting for the selfless, for what they believe is saving the world. And then you have to, and then of course where the retrospective come from is how our main characters, right, They're doing all this, which is why we got to see them as the heroes, which of course puts us at odds with Eren, because Eren's not. We're seeing Eren as the villain solely, right? Because if we're gonna side with our group of misfits, right? Our Avengers team, right? If we're gonna side with them, then we have to see Eren as the villain, or at least an antagonist, so to speak, right?
Yeah.
The one thing that they have in common is that they're tired of the bloodshed. They're tired of the violence. And I remember something you guys said on the previous episode about the war with Marley and stuff like that, and how it's been going on for years. But when you think about it, the whole thing that we learned from Aaron's testimony. I'm playing too much Ace Attorney. I'm sorry. The one thing we get from Emir's flashback, that it's not about Eldia. It's not about Marley. It's about the cycle of violence that chases humanity. The fact that they're constantly in disagreement with each other, that leads to violence, that leads to bloodshed, and that's the cycle that these heroes want to break. And I love how Annie just breaks down and she says, I'm tired of us killing each other. Like, she's talking about everybody.
Yeah.
This is the one that grabbed the guys by the ODM gear like a yo-yo and threw them around. You know what I'm saying? So like, if she's saying this, it's so meaningful and powerful. You know what I mean?
I loved Annie in this episode because you're right. When we first see the female Titan, she's just wrecking folks. And it's almost comedic how she was handling the guy with the ODM gear. It's insane. And it's like, she's the one telling us to stop fighting? Really?
Yeah.
But then the genius part, though, about the way that this story is being told is that she was in that crystal, right? All this time, but she was able to hear. So she heard every conversation that was happening in that room. She heard everything Armin was telling her for the past how many years? What, 4 or 5 or so?
Too long.
Yeah. And so it's like, it makes sense that she had this revolutionary character arc that we didn't see. And it's like, I get it though, because she had a lot of time to reflect on her actions.
Yeah.
And so
yeah.
I think that's why that scene works, because they set that up in a way where it's like, yeah, it'd be bullshit, really, if Annie said that. Yeah. If she didn't have 4 years to contemplate what she was doing in season 1 and 2.
Yeah. And also, we've seen how hard it was for Gabby to make the shift. And like, I'm not surprised. I know for a fact that I'm not the only one that's kind of team Gabby right now because of the 180. You know what I mean? Like, the fact that now she's seeing this group of people as like a la Black Widow, right? It's not about Russia. It's not about the Red Room. It's about the Avengers family that has been formed, right? Like, it kind of has those vibes. And I do find it fascinating. And I love the fact that you talking about Annie and the crystal, and you mentioned about how we haven't seen her for so long. And this speaks to the writing, and it speaks to the direction. And personally, I did not feel this way when I read it, probably because I was just eating it away. Mm-hmm. But what a seamless transition to reinsert Annie into the narrative. Like,
yeah,
there's so many ways this reinsertion of her character could have gone wrong, but the way it was easily slipped through, even with the hilarious pie scene, like, what a great, like, I feel that I haven't
missed a beat, right?
Correct. I feel that she's always been there. Like, she's always been like, and it's funny because the reveal of her being thought out, it's kind of like Isayama going like, you thought we forgot about this one, didn't you? like that's the way the cliffhanger feels. But no, man, it was just great. It was just so great.
Just to speak on what you were saying, right? Reading it and watching it is a completely different experience.
Yeah.
Because I wasn't on the manga reviews with you guys when you guys went through it. I read it like a couple months after, and I just did not enjoy this final arc at all. I feel like the anime, that like there's parts of it that I enjoyed, but I feel like the anime is allowing moments to breathe a little bit better.
Yep.
The use of flashbacks is a little bit better, so it's
Yep.
reminding you of specific moments where certain lines of dialogue are more impactful. The score is helping a lot, so I feel
Yes.
like this final season is taking that source material, which was for me okay at best, and really elevating it to a place where it's like, yeah, this is the quality I expect from Attack on Titan, and why I fell in love
Yep.
with the series in the first place.
Yep. What were your favorite moments, Isaac?
Well, it's for me. It's the personal moments that is the best one. And going back to the Jaegerists and all that, yes, I don't agree with them in the slightest. But at the same time, if you're looking back at what they had gone through and all that, yes, it you can't really blame them either, because they are desperate to
Yeah.
get a solution on being safe, and now they sort of finally, in a twisted way, found one, if that makes any sense. And
Yeah,
and if you wonder what I knew about thought about Mikasa this episode, well, she was truly a sexy badass. So, but I digress.
Yeah.
she kind of always is, but I want to go off what you were saying there, Isaac, about like they didn't really their motivations are understandable. And one thing I really appreciate with Flock as a character in this episode is his he says a line of like, we have no other choice, there's no going back, right? Like, they're in too deep. They have to see this thing through, otherwise the entire world is going to come at them for revenge. And
Mhm.
so even if they had a change of heart, they just doomed their entire island to suffer the consequences
If they
It's-
stop now, yeah.
yeah, so it's like
Correct.
they have to just go all the way in.
Yep.
And so I want to circle back to something that Perp said earlier. Got to give it up to Flock, holding his own, no fear.
Yep.
And it's like, yeah, he's a character that's easy to hate, but that one moment where it's just like, yeah, I respect you, Flock, even though I still can't stand you.
And you know what's interesting about that particular comment from Perp, and the idea of no fear, but you got to think about it. If you see certain stills, Flock is shitting his pants. Flock is actually afraid of what it would mean if they back out.
Yeah.
Because he's afraid, because it's like any cult leader, like they know what they're doing. He knows what he's saying. He knows how he's using the events of the times, how he's using the seasons to influence this group of people, right?
Yeah.
He knows how much is riding in him, kind of like, holding the flag or whatever. So I would say he's just a scaredy cat. But I get what you're saying. We got to respect Flock, and it goes back to the fact that I love what you mentioned, Isaac, about the Jaegerists, that you can't blame them, and I think that's kind of the point that Isayama is going for, when especially now that we're in the end, we're in the final arc, and we kind of are to understand that when you think about it, right or wrong is subjective, because that's always going to be based on your beliefs. So it's all about, all ideas, all stances are understandable if you're willing to understand the person that has the ideas. So when you look at these, like, we are trained as a society to judge other people's actions as right or wrong before we try to understand the person and why. And I think Isayama is kind of like bringing to the forefront that before right and wrong matters, we need to understand the why. Now, understanding the why is not going to change whether or not we think it's right or wrong, right? But it is going to influence how we treat the person, as opposed to just blindly executing them like Flock was doing, like a cult leader would do. Whereas like, which brings me to this, which I want to share this. I took a picture of this. Let me see if I can share it here. And I want to put it in the screen because it was one of those things that I was like, I don't know if you guys caught it, but it kind of like flew underneath the radar. And when I saw that, it just blew my mind. And did you guys read the message that was hidden in the mid episode panel?
The one that featured Mikasa, right?
Did you read it?
I read it as fast as I could. I didn't pause it. I should have went back to read the whole thing.
So I pause it, which it's kind of like this one in particular is not an information drop.
Yeah, I noticed that.
it's literally like Isayama talking to everybody. And look what it says. It says, when Titans were the threat, they were the enemy. When countries were the threat, they were the enemy. For as long as people hold on to different beliefs, they will be an enemy.
Yep.
And it's like, I read that and I was like, damn, like that's just like deep. But also it makes you think, like, when we look at other people, a lot our innate response is to say you're right or you're wrong, and we never try to understand each other. Which takes me back to the whole campfire episode, right? The Avengers Assembled episode in the forest.
Yeah.
When Hanji was talking about, like, this is all about talking amongst ourselves and understanding each other. And if we were able to live without misunderstandings, we could probably figure stuff out. Because I think, especially when you have like a fight with your best friend, right? You know how we've all had a fight with our best friend that we don't talk to them for months, right? We've all been there in one way, shape, or form, right? And it's not till like you kind of clarify that a lot of times you can mend the bridges, and sometimes the relationship gets stronger, right? We've all been through that. And it's just a powerful thought. And it's like this is where you go, like, anime is an art form, and there's a message and there's an idea, just like Fully Cooley is not all madness. You know what I mean? And
it's mostly madness.
Yes.
Yeah, like 75% madness.
Yeah, and then there's the beach episode. And but this is the kind of thing that I love about Attack on Titan and a lot of animes, that they find ways to speak to us, right? And I love how Attack on Titan throughout the whole series has explored different genres, different ideas, different types of interaction. And then, I don't know, like, there's this discourse that Isayama's been talking about for all this time that I just find super interesting.
Oh yeah, totally.
It's just been awesome. Okay, my rant's over. I'm gonna go home now. But yeah, I figured I'd share that with you guys, because when I saw it, I had to pause. I had to go back, and I read it, and I was like, oh my God, this is so awesome. Now, what was your favorite scene, Mike? Was it the Annie and Mikasa one? I know for a fact, Annie's sexy pose that Mikasa had, that's what had Isaac excited. But what was your favorite scene?
You know, for me, it's the personal ones, but, well, go on, Mike.
My favorite scene from this episode has to be, towards the end, we have to basically take down that other ship, right, to allow them to escape.
Bro, I was gonna go with the same one.
Yeah,
that whole exchange between Theo McGath and Keith Chattis, bro. That's like I don't know. That's the kind of scene that you like go to film school and you know what I mean? And they tell you, like, this is one of the greatest scenes in the greatest movies of all time. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I
for
feel
sure.
like that's the kind of scene that you watch with James Lipton inside the actor's studio. you know what I'm saying? Like, man, that scene was just so good.
That's a scene that, it's going to be up there with one of the best. I feel like it'll be up there as one of the best moments in Attack on Titan, just period.
Yep.
Because of how powerful it is, right? These two commanders, these two generals, essentially, are risking it all for their students to press forward, right? Even though they know it's kind of like Empire Strikes Back in the sense that they escaped, but are we sure they're going to win this? It's just giving them a sliver, a glimmer of hope of if they escape, they might be able to pull this off. And they were willing to give their lives, like Flock was, right? Of pulling this off. We can't let them have any chance of catching the last hope.
Right. And also what makes I love how you say that, the last hope. And it's like they don't know, like they know for a fact that they will never see the future, but they know that they're the future, right?
Yeah.
And they got to do everything they can to help them. But what I like them, and now the angle that I like the most in that same line is that this is a scene between two failed mentors. Like these are mentors that have failed their students. And this is them kind of like them recognizing how they failed throughout the entire lives. And in spite of their failures, how they're recognizing that their students were still able to become better than them. And how they're the hope. You know what I mean? Like there was so much poetry there. Like, because we know that Keith Shotties knew a lot of the secrets of the walls, but he still trained scouts.
Yeah.
Without showing them the truth of what he knew because he was afraid. Same thing with Magath. Instead of protecting these kids because they were from a different race, he just went with it. And it's funny because every time we see him, he's questioning a lot of things. Like you never see him like going head on, like, you know what I mean? Like he knows his role and he's fulfilling his role, but he has a lot of trouble with, like, he's not a blind racist. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Like, yes, he's part of the brainwashed crowd or whatever, but he's one that's thinking everything through and recognizing how he's failed these kids and used them as weapons. But how he's happy that they were able to show them both the way, and how they have this utter faith that they're willing to give their lives for them, which is like, it's kind of like this is where they are redeemed. These are where these mentors and teachers are redeemed in the eyes of our heroes, which is for example, like we go back to that scene with Annie that happens later, where she has no reason to fight for. But now, after she learns that the reason Theo Magath gave his life is because he believed that they had a chance. And that kind of motivates her to keep fighting. And that's when she goes to Mikasa and goes like, hey, I have to ask you this question. Are you willing to stand by and watch me kill him? If it came to that.
Yep.
I don't know, man. Like, bro, that ship scene, bro.
They gave their hearts, right? Which is what was being echoed at the top of the episode.
Which is funny that you say that, because now that phrase has a new meaning. You know why? Because you say that, and Theo Magath and Keith Shotties are doing that. But who is the group of characters that say that in the middle of the battle?
Yeah, the Jaegers.
Yeah, bro. Damn it, Izayama, you brilliant bastard. Man, this episode's great. This episode's so good.
So great.
So good.
Probably one of my favorite standalone episodes of the entire series.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. You know what? It's interesting that you say that, because the setup in the last episode was so great that you're right. This feels like a standalone episode. Like it doesn't feel like it's lingering from the past. Like you can actually just pull this episode up and just watch it.
Yeah. Of course you're gonna need context, but it's one of those where I don't need to watch 2 or 3 episodes to understand what's going on here on our rewatch.
It's like what we all did when we all bought Spider-Man No Way Home. Did we watch the movie again? No. We went to the ending, to the Statue of Liberty, and just watched the 3 Spider-Mans together. That's all they did. You know what I mean?
I did even less. I just watched all the bonus content. I didn't even watch that scene. I just went there. I'm watching all this extra stuff here.
Yep.
If I hadn't have been spoiled by the movie already, would have been annoyed with you right now. But
Hey, it's on home release now. It's all on you, buddy.
not you, not here yet.
You can't get it digitally because it's on digital.
Not here in Sweden. It's
Wow.
not until next week.
I am a horrible human being. But you know what? I embrace who I am completely.
We all know that you're a horrible human being. That wasn't anything new.
Dang, bro.
Now, we got to talk about this. We have no choice but to talk about this.
Okay, so we're gonna talk about Bruno.
We're going to talk about Bruno.
Let's do it.
So we know that the show goes on hiatus, right? Well, before I do this, do you guys have anything else to share about this episode?
About this episode, no.
Okay.
In retrospective, no.
Oh my God. He couldn't help himself. So we know for a fact that the show's going on hiatus. The final episode for part 2, which, by the way, have you guys noticed that throughout all the material and all the reports, they never say the final episode of the season. They always say the final episode, the last episode of part 2. Like, they've been very specific to not say the last episode of the season.
Yeah, that's one thing, and I'm glad you brought this up because at the top of the show, Perp dropped this. And there's speculation
Please
about,
no movie.
About a
Please
movie,
no movie.
Yeah.
about a part 3, and I just want to build off what you just said there. Like, has there been any official confirmation that part 2 is the final part? Right? It's just been part 1, part 2.
Yeah, they never specified.
Yeah,
they never specified that I know of. I haven't seen a report that says the last episode of season 4. They say the final. They say the last part 2 ends with this.
right.
So I mean, for now, we're gonna talk things that might sound like a spoiler of the manga, but we will not talk manga content, just details of logistics, so to speak. So for those that have not read the manga is comprised of 139 chapters. Okay, so as of the episode 87, chapter 87 of the anime, which is going to be called The Dawn of Humanity, which it looks like is going to be a very Eren-centric episode, which I am very excited because we haven't seen Eren in a minute.
I forgot he was in this show.
Yeah, right. I mean, we've seen him in the opening. But the final episode, but we know that this is part 2. They're not saying the final episode of the series.
It's apparently from the homepage of the Attack on Titans homepage show.
Right, but they're talking about part 2.
Send me the link, and I'll verify that.
and not only that, but here's the thing, though. I think
It's in Japanese, though.
Oh yeah, that's easy workaround there.
Google Translate. But here's the thing, though. It's saying the final episode
Check
is
the
scheduled
chat.
for April 3, and that's for part 2. But they're not saying the series finale. They're not saying the last episode of season 4. And the reason why I'm making a big deal out of this is because one of the things that we've talked about a lot throughout the coverage of Attack on Titan season 4 is that they've been extremely accurate with their adaptation. Like, there's only one particular chapter that I noticed that they did not adapt. And it's funny because in this episode, we got a flashback of it. But I don't want to tell you what the chapter is about because I kind of feel that we might still see something of that. But
so it just says final episode of part 2 when you click the link.
So it doesn't specify season 4. It doesn't say series finale either.
Yeah, it would say like the final episode of Attack on Titan. It's just saying final episode of part 2.
Right. So for those that don't know, so like I said, the manga has 139 chapters. And one of the things that they have said is that the next episode, which is the final episode of part 2, is going to be an adaptation of chapter 130. which means that there's still 9 chapters of Attack on Titan that have not been covered, which leads me to believe that we might get possibly a part 3 where a lot of this is going to be condensed to probably another 5 episodes, which I don't see how they would dedicate so much time to make episodes like this one and the previous one so detailed in their adaptation, and not do that with the final confrontation with Eren.
Right. It feels weird to like, yeah, we're gonna cut out 8 chapters of this story and just jump forward. That's not how this season has been paced out. So,
right.
Yeah.
Right. And not only that, like, I don't know if you guys know this, but like some of the episodes of this season are some of the most watched episodes of all time in anime. Period. Like, it's been crazy. Like,
makes sense.
Like, this is making money like crazy. So they're making their money back in more ways than one. And so personally, if they reveal, right, like if the last episode of part 2, which happens in 2 weeks because we're going to be in hiatus next week, if that last episode ends with them arriving to where Eren is, and then it goes and we go on break for like 2 or 3 months, I'll be okay with that. I'd be perfectly okay with that if that means that we're going to get another 3 to 4 episodes or something like that. I would be perfectly okay with that. You know what? If they tell me we have to wait 6 months till it ends, I'm not going to lie. It's going to hurt, but I'd be okay with that too, because it shows me that they're going to continue and that's the biggest thing. They're going to continue the trend that they've been showing us, that they've been taking their time to tell the story. And I don't know. I mean, Isayama's also been so on top of the adaptation. He even says it himself, and he said it in multiple places, that he sees the anime as his definitive version of Shingeki no Kyojin. So not even the manga is the definitive version.
Makes sense. This is 1,000 times better. No offense.
No, but he's worked it out that way.
Yeah.
So I kind of don't see how. I don't see if it's gonna be a movie, then it has to be like I'm not that I want that, but it has to be like. I mean, I think we've already beaten the stereotype of 2.5 hour movies being a bad thing. I mean, hello, The Dark Knight Rises, Endgame, Infinity War, now the Batman. Like, we've broken those paradigms a long time ago, especially for big blockbusters. Like, length is not a problem as long as it's good. You know what I mean?
That's what she said.
Oh my God. Michael!
And here was, I'm not doing the dirty joke here. I'm proud of
it.
Mike.
Was too easy. But no, what you're saying makes sense. I'd rather it not be a movie unless it's like they announced that it's dropping within the next couple of months, because I don't want to wait until next year for a movie.
Right.
But if they like do a 7-episode part 3, in the fall, I'm cool with that.
Yeah,
that works for me.
Yeah.
If that happens, fall is stacked.
Yeah,
because we get Attack on Titan. We have Attack on Titan. Yeah.
Attack on Titans, Bleach, My Hero Academia.
Yep.
Isn't Chainsaw Man come out in fall, or is
Chainsaw Man. I think it's scheduled for October. Yeah.
Stacked.
Yeah. October's gonna
be
a
lot
busy,
of content to do.
busy. Yeah, we do. Definitely do. But yeah, guys, I mean, what do you guys think out there? Do you guys want a movie? Do you guys want a part 3? Are you guys okay with an extended hiatus? I mean, let's be realistic. It took them 1 whole year to get another 12 episodes ready. So them going on hiatus for 6-7 months is a very big possibility if they're going to go for a part 3, because there's no way that they're going to have all the final episodes ready if they're going to go that route. So
it would also be really easy because, we've had the final season, part 1, part 2. What if the next part of the story is just the final act of Attack on Titan, right? The last act.
You just want the final and everything.
Yeah, I mean,
It's
gotta
like
go with it.
it's like Halloween kills, Halloween eats pizza, Halloween has ice cream, Halloween does cardio. Like it's like
Yeah, it's better than the Fast and the Furious, whatever they're doing.
oh right, it's no longer it's
Now I
Fast 9, the saga.
now I need ice cream on a pizza next time.
All
Hey.
right. Was there anything else we needed to cover before we wrap this one up?
No, I think we're ready to go to bed. So guys, thank you for joining us on our coverage of Attack on Titan and listening to our thoughts and our rants and our rambles and being patient with me as I go philosophical for no reason apart from the fact that Attack on Titan is amazing. Oh, by the way, I'm still collecting the manga. When I get most of it, I'll send you guys pictures.
Nice.
So let's wrap this up. Mike Ackerman, Nova Cinephile, where can we find you, Bretta?
You can find me at Novice Cinephile on just about every social media platform on the planet. Today I just uploaded a review of Jujutsu Kaisen Zero, which is a
Ooh.
fantastic movie. Can't wait for you guys to check it out. That
Nice.
review is on YouTube at Novice Cinephile, TikTok at Novice Cinephile. And also you can find me just here talking with you guys, talking My Hero Academia Vigilantes, just having a great time. I think we have an episode on My Dress Up Darling that Isaac and I are going to end up doing soon, so stay tuned for that as well.
Yeah.
Nice.
And
Mr. Isaac.
you forgot to mention that we talked about everything from Submitting to Midnight, being scared of pussy bees, and talked about all the people in the My Hero Academia Vigilantes episode, but I digress. And well,
What
uh,
is happening in the world?
Anyway, I think what Isaac's trying to say is that we recorded an episode with Leo about My Hero Academia. It's a fun time. Deku has a girlfriend.
talked about-
Let's go.
Oh my god.
And we talked about hoping of getting mounted by Mount Lady, and well, okay, this is getting out of hand, but I digress. And well, we have posted a JoJo Bizarre Adventure. We are recently recording our next JoJo, our next Doron episode, and there is many other stuff to come that we are thinking about. And we are. Did you mention the Godfather thing coming up, Mike?
I did not. We are actually. I'm going to let Brandon talk about that because, yeah, it's the chatter after. I feel like Brandon should be the one to do it.
Yeah, I think everybody's tired of me talking. But my name is Brandon. I'm 5'9". Oh wait, that's not it. I'm sorry. So, well, you guys can find me at the Scarlet Fan 52 on Twitter, Scarlet Fan 52 on Instagram, and the Scarlet Fan 52 on TikTok. I don't have no idea why I'm on TikTok, but apparently I'm there. And you might see some amateur otaku stuff there, but we're not going to talk about it here. But make sure you click on the like button and click on the bell for notifications and subscribe to the Amateur Otaku podcast on Twitter and the Amateur Otaku channel on YouTube so you don't miss any episodes, any podcasts, any coverage on Attack on Titan, and plenty of the awesome anime content that we are covering every single week. We also have other ventures with the Novice Cinephile himself. We are working on a film sessions series on Captain America, which is going to be awesome and fire. And we're also going to work on a new show called The Shatter After, where we'll just do the same thing we do here with anime, but with films. Actual film with actual people in them, not just the voices. And
I mean, they might be animated once in a while. You never
very
know.
possibly, like Fern Gully. And or American Tail. I love Fievel. So
Fievel.
now the one that we're doing first is The Godfather, Part 1, not the weird coda, not the one with the flashbacks, but the original The Godfather, because it's 50-year anniversary as of this upcoming week. So we're going to cover The Godfather and talk about why this movie is timeless, why the director hates Marvel movies, but loves artsy films like this one. I just rewatched it. It's still a great film. There's a reason why our parents stand still and watch it every time it comes on. But we're going to talk about it because it's a great film. And we're going to
No
talk about a lot of
comment.
other great films. But I think that's it, guys. Let's go ahead and get out of here. We will see you next time, guys. Have it awesome. And thank you for joining us. Peace.
Give your hearts.
Sasageo, Sasageo.